Good morning, everyone. This is Andy Hall. You're watching the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Let's start off. What are the news stories you're going to ask me? It's a logical question. What are the stories we're covering today? We got Guam and the Guam Green Connection, splitters, atheists and COVID, Denmark and the vaccine, and the ring of steel enclosing upon former President Donald J. Trump. Let's do something funny first.
Have you ever left your phone in the fridge? Then you look all around but can't find where it is, 'cause you left your phone in the fridge. Thought I had my life down, how did it come to this? 'Cause I got 8 hours of sleep, did my yoga and still went and left my iPhone in the fridge to chill. You don't know how old you've grown till you're like shit. I left my phone in the fridge. Should probably take a vitamin.
That was pretty good. Everyone in the chat, how are you doing this morning? Derek Cruz. Remember Sammy Jenkins, Robert X. Oh, why, thank you very much. Simply Secular, Tobin Templeman. I don't know why I said Tobin twice. I just like the flow of it. Yeah, I hope you're all doing pretty well today. I am doing well. We're just going to dive right into the question. It's been 1 year of COVID. How's everyone holding up? Right? How's everyone holding up for 1 year of COVID? I was ready at the beginning of the apocalypse. I thought to myself, well, I'm going to just write off a year. I am prepared to just write a year down and just say, whatever happens in this year, it happens. I was working up until, I think, September last year, and that's when I left my job. And things got, because while I was still working, things didn't really impact me personally too bad. Yeah, I was quarantining all the time. Yeah, I spent a week at work, 24 hours a day, literally 7 days a week. That was weird. But outside of that, I kept the normal rhythm a lot. I still saw my kids. I saw my girlfriend since we're living together. She was working at home. But since, let's say, September of last year, it's been just getting a bit heavier, right? The COVID, it feels like a blanket. Not a good blanket, a bad blanket, maybe an itchy blanket, one that's a little bit, doesn't let you breathe really a bit. Maybe that's just my own anxiety issues coming out right now. I don't know. But the end looks like it's in sight. Maybe, right? Vaccines are coming out. People are getting vaccinated. But how's everyone holding up? It's been a year, right, since the official apocalypse started. Oh, well, there you go, Robert X. You still got a job, so that's pretty positive, right? Brain Bug. Good morning, Brain Bug. Oh, you're retired. So, yeah. This is what I've discovered is that, I'm 52. I'm going to be 53 in June, actually. And though I plan to be engaged in creative pursuits until the time that they put me in the grave or shoot me out into space or whatever, or put me into deep ice because I'm still hoping for cryogenics, I am looking forward to the time that I do not have to work a job. I'm looking forward to it. So in the back of my head, there's this there's this clock running down to when I can feasibly retire, but that's not well for another 10 years. Oh, Home Harbor, huh? Malmo. I don't know if that's how I'm supposed to pronounce it, Phil Lister, but that's how I'm going with it right now, Almo. The end of the beginning is in sight, indeed. Hey, you're turning 53 in June too. I am June 27th, Simply Secular. And I'm enjoying my 50s, to tell you the truth. I have said it more than once that the 30s, they are a difficult decade because that's when everything happens for a lot of people, right? Marriage, family, home, all that, career, all that stuff happens, and it's very anxiety provoking. There's a lot of pressure on people in their 30s these days, and 50s for me has just been a bit easier. I don't know what it would have been like for me if I had young kids during the apocalypse, during COVID-19. I think my attitude would be a lot darker. I would have had a lot more pressure. I would probably lose hair, to tell you the truth. Yeah, well, Dr. Mordecai, I'm working. I am, I am doing things. There's no doubt about it. I was talking to my friend the other day. I was talking to Dale McGowan, and head of the Pathos Non-Religious channel, and I was going, Dale, ever since I've left my job, I've been working a lot more. Ever since I left my 40-hour-a-week job, I find out that I'm much busier on the blog, on YouTube, on social media. I just find that I am just working more. I'm putting in more hours work. I'm not getting paid as much, of course, right? That's obvious. I'm not getting paid as much, but I'm just putting in more hours. Oh, Social Security is giving you the runaround. I'm sorry to hear that, Digital Bookworm. Yeah. Phil Lister, 83. Well, that does make sense from the story that you told us yesterday about being on the leader of Germany's knee there. Catch a show. Well, tomorrow, what is it? Saturday? Am I doing a show? I'm not doing a morning show tomorrow. I don't know what I have planned tomorrow. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow. I do put in a lot of writing. You're right, Dr. Mordecai. I do like putting a blog post out a day. Now, the blog post is like 500 words maybe. But if you've ever done blogging every day, it isn't just about putting the words on paper, so to speak. It's about, especially when you're doing comedy, it's about coming up with a proper premise of the joke and the proper execution of the joke. And then somehow you're supposed to make it palatable for a general audience, or at least palatable for your audience. So I put a good amount of work into the blog, Laughing in Disbelief. Should I say the preeminent comedy atheist blog? Maybe I should, because I don't think there's any other, to tell you the truth. So I'm the best and the worst in the comedy blogging space. So I've been surviving the COVID-19 for the last year just by sticking to my plan. And I don't know about anyone else. Really, I have been striving for a very long time not to be crazy, not to go crazy, or I'm well aware of my mental health and my physical health, having that low-grade anxiety disorder that I have. And so I think I've been able to keep it together just because I've been working to maintain my physical and my mental health. And this is part of it, to tell you the truth. Me interacting with you is part of my Andy doesn't go crazy during COVID strategy. Yeah, that's right, the girlfriend. We have things to do tomorrow. We have like life going on. So I may not stream. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But of course, I'll be doing a blog post tomorrow on Laughing in Disbelief. Samuel, my wife has been working from home for 9 years. And this younger generation went to hell working from home after 4 months. I know, Samuel. Samuel Gray. Send me $5, Andy. $5. Man, currently, there's not $5 to be given, my friend. I have my kids' birthdays coming up next month. Both. What month is this? So yes, next month I have both of my kids' birthdays. They're both born. They're a few years apart. And it's birthday week. It's usually birthday week, and there are multiple celebrations. So I have to prepare for that. Thankfully, just like my last stimulus check went to bills, I think this stimulus check will partly go to Christmas for birthday presents for my kids. Nothing luxurious, but a portion of it will go to my kids' birthday presents. All right, so what are we gonna? Let's do some funny stuff, right? Let's do some funny memes before we get into the news stories. Oh my God, I cannot tell you about this Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do some funny stuff first before we start talking about that woman. I thought this was hilarious. Here we go. But without actually having eaten the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, we could not have known it was, quote, wrong, unquote, to disobey you. Of course, that's Adam and Eve. And here is the first philosopher. So maybe philosophy was just born from people trying to get themselves out of trouble, arguing the nuance of the law, of whatever rules and regulations that was going on in their tribe. Bizarro always delivers. All right. One of our stories, and you might have seen this in the blogosphere or on the news, about how atheists are more likely to get the COVID vaccine than any other group. This meme is pretty funny. Katie, I don't want the COVID vaccine. I don't trust what they put in it. Also, Katie. I have a feeling that covers a lot of people. That I don't want to put anything unnatural in my body. I don't want the vaccine because of what it's going to do to me. And then to go have a can of Coke or something like that. 8 tablespoons or teaspoons in a can of Coke, but they don't want the vaccine. And this is for me, it's a throwback to, of course, there you go, Senator Ted Cruz in Cancun. And there you have the Donald Trump gold statue. I think it harkens back to the end of the original Planet of the Apes, which was a great movie. The original Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know about the Statue of Liberty being in the sand there. But there he is, Ted Cruz, Cancun. Oh, Samuel. Oh, I thank you very much, sir. I do appreciate the support. As always, it's much appreciated. Saving my pennies. That's what I'm doing. You know, whenever I see a celebrity on TV pitching reverse mortgages or some kind of flim-flam, I'm using my old-timey voice, some kind of flim-flam, I think to myself, they've never saved their pennies. They did not save their pennies, and now they have to pitch reverse mortgages on TV. Scott Duke, thanks a lot. Take the girlfriend out for a latte. Well, she will appreciate that. We do have to go out tomorrow and do a few things. So I'll treat her for one of her Starbucks lattes. For me, of course, because just who I am, I'm cheap. Whenever I go to Starbucks, I would, even when I had more money in my pocket than the little I have now, I would just get a black Pikes Peak coffee, a small one. And just because I always felt foolish asking for one of the reasons, because I would always feel foolish about asking for a multi-syllable drink, a mochaccino, latte, super cappuccino, whatever. It's like, no, I just want a small, and I would never use the proper Starbucks lingo either. I would just say a small black Pikes Peak, or just a small black Pike. But thank you, Scott Duke. I appreciate the support, as well as you, Samuel. I mean, every penny counts. Every penny counts here. Yeah, you're getting treated tomorrow, girlfriend. You're getting treated. Right, exactly, Brain Bud. Spoilers for a half-century-old movie, which I still love. I still love those original Planet of the Apes movies. I thought those were good. I thought those were great. All right, so let's go with the first story. So, okay, well, we'll start off with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Guam offers Marjorie Taylor Greene cookies and a history book after she falsely claims it's a foreign country unworthy of aid. Before we actually get into the news story, approximately, and I did cursory research on this, I believe it's 1,783 American soldiers were killed in the Battle of Guam in 1944, and 6,010 were wounded in the Battle of Guam in 1944. I believe every July 22nd, Guam has a liberation holiday, right? It's the largest island in the Marianas. Guam still features heavily in the U.S. Military presence in the Pacific. It's an important island. We got it. Well, the United States took it from Spain in 1898 in the Spanish-American War. But so it's an important possession where American soldiers have died. They have spilt blood protecting the island. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't know any of that. Let's go. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was offered cookies and a geography lesson by leaders in Guam after she falsely suggested the U.S. territory is a foreign country that didn't deserve aid. In comments at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Florida in late February that surfaced on Tuesday, Greene said, "I'm a regular person, and I wanted to take my regular person, normal, everyday American values, which is we love our country. We believe our hard-earned tax dollars should go for America, not for what? China, Russia, the Middle East, Guam, whatever, wherever." Oh my God. Michael San Nicolas, Guam's delegate in the House, told the Guam Daily Post, "Congresswoman Greene is a new member and we will be paying a visit to her and delivering delicious Chamorro chip cookies as part of our ongoing outreach to new members to introduce them to our beautiful island of Guam." I find it amazing that I haven't heard anyone mention the Battle of Guam when confronting Ms. Greene, right? The story continues. The office of Guam's governor, Lourdes, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, offered educational resources to Greene. "We would be more than happy to send Representative Greene's office a copy of Destiny's Landfall, A History of Guam," Cristo Paco-san Augustin, the director of communications for the governor, told the Post. Greene's office did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment. Guam, an island in the West Pacific Ocean, has been a U.S. territory since 1898, following the Spanish-American War. Its residents are U.S. citizens who pay federal taxes, but not federal income tax. Many people in Guam serve in the U.S. military, and it's considered to be of vital strategic importance. You know what's interesting about this article is that it doesn't say anything about the Battle of Guam, where, once again, 1,783 American soldiers were killed and 6,010 were wounded. So it's part of the United States. It's part of the United States. And Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks it's a foreign country that we're just shoveling tons of foreign aid to. Like we're giving and what's the other countries in the list that she thinks we're giving foreign aid to? China, Russia, the Middle East. Oh, Christ. Do you think that Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks the Middle East is a country? Do you think, if she thinks Guam is a country, do you think she thinks the Middle East is a country? Maybe she does. You know, before reading the story, I would think no representatives that stupid. Even in America, no politician is stupid at the federal level to think that the Middle East is its own country. But after hearing that she thinks Guam is its own country, maybe she really does. Maybe she really does think the Middle East is a country. Wow, Andy, you got to breathe. You're right about that, Brainbug. You're right about that. The South. Hello, James Henry, by the way. The South is the mothership of Moroni. This is, oh wow. This is Tobin Templeman's drink, I guess. Grand vanilla bean frappuccino made with heavy cream, 2 extra shots. My actual favorite drink. Well, good for you, man. I just feel too guilty ordering that kind of stuff. And also, it's a calorie thing for me too. So yeah. Does Marjorie Taylor Greene know that the Middle East is not its own country? She apparently doesn't know that Guam is a possession of the U.S. And she definitely doesn't know about the Battle of Guam in 1944. And no one has mentioned that either. I haven't seen anyone actually. If I was the governor, or if I was a veterans group, a World War II veterans group, I'd be like, hey, maybe you should cover some basic U.S. history, just some basic U.S. history before you start shooting your mouth off. All right, could be. She could just be playing even more stupid than she really is, James Henry. She could just be playing to be more stupid but I don't even know if she's smart enough to play stupid. That's the thing. See, with Trump, Marge is a GOP loaves and fishes of idiocy for sure. See, for Trump, after that Woodward interview, I realized that Trump was just playing stupid a lot of the times. He wasn't that bright, but he intentionally played stupid a lot of the times. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know if she's that smart to play stupid. Yeah, I'm saying right now that Marjorie Taylor Greene is probably more stupid than Donald J. Trump. That's right, imaginary God. So the Middle East is around, say, Missouri. Of course it is. It's kind of middle and the east. All right, so that was our first story, everyone. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't realize that Guam is not a foreign country. All right, let's go with our next story. Right, next story coming up. Splitters. That's what this story is called in the description, the link to the description. As you well know, the Republican Civil War is still going on between Trump and the remnants of quote-unquote conservative traditional Republicans. There's also a split in evangelical Christianity, and we're going to be taking a look at the split within evangelical Christianity, the Trumpers versus the non-Trumpers. All right, prominent evangelical Beth Moore announces split from the Southern Baptists. Donald Trump may be out of the White House, but he continues to cause fractures within some conservative communities. One of those is the Southern Baptist Convention, where Beth Moore, one of its most prominent women, this week left the church, having declared that she is no longer a Southern Baptist. Oh no, Moore is an evangelical author and teacher of Bible studies who headlines cruises. Oh my God. There's evangelical cruisers. I had not even considered the possibility of evangelical cruises. But what ring of Dante's hell would it be being stuck on an evangelical cruise? Mandatory prayer circles. That's what I imagine a cruise would be like. Joel Osteen being blurted out while you're just, and what about drinking? Can you drink on an evangelical cruise? All right. Moore is an evangelical author and teacher of Bible studies who headlines cruises and speaks before huge audiences. Her ministry reportedly had nearly $15 million in revenue in 2016. She attended a Baptist congregation starting in childhood and began her rise in prominence by sharing devotionals at the aerobics classes she taught at a Houston church. On Twitter, where she has nearly 1 million followers, Moore has pinned a tweet that says simply, "I cannot recommend Jesus enough." I think that's how Aristotle became a great philosopher. He started sharing his wisdom at yoga class. No, at aerobics classes. I'm sorry. But as Trump rose to the presidency, Moore found herself aghast at the church's embrace of him and stances on women. I am still a Baptist, but I can no longer identify with Southern Baptists, Moore said in an interview with Religion Services News Service last week. I love so many Southern Baptist people, so many Southern Baptist churches, but I don't identify with some of the things in our heritage that haven't remained in the past. In 2018, Moore wrote a blog post called A Letter to My Brothers, in which she described attitudes among some key Christian leaders that smacked of misogyny. You know, I have to tell you something. If you're a Southern Baptist woman and you even talk about misogyny, can you be a good Southern Baptist woman in that situation? I imagine if there were like a list of forbidden words for Southern Baptist women to say, I would think misogyny would be one of them. All right. That smacked of misogyny, objectification, and astonishing disesteem of women, and it spread like wildfire. She had encountered what she called one of the most demoralizing realizations of my adult life. Scripture was not the reason for the colossal disregard and disrespect of women among many of these men. It was only an excuse. Sin was the reason. So what she's saying is that many characters, leading Southern Baptist evangelical leaders, had misogyny, and it wasn't based in the Bible. They were using the Bible as a way to justify their prejudices against women. I think she would have been burned as a witch, to tell you the truth, a couple of hundred years ago. 2019, Moore posted a tweet suggesting that she would be preaching in a church on Mother's Day, though she didn't use the word preach, setting off an uproar in the conservative denomination about whether women should be permitted to preach. She said she watched in amazement as the conversation immediately supplanted the discussion of sexual abuse scandal that was rocking the church. We're in the middle of the biggest sexual abuse scandal that has ever hit our denomination, Moore told Religion News Service, and suddenly the most important thing to talk about was whether or not a woman could stand in the pulpit and give a message. Gosh, who would have thought conservatives would have taken a culture war issue, and for them, this is their version of a culture war issue, women preaching in the church. So there was this huge sex abuse scandal, and the go-to for party leadership was, what about women preaching? That can't be right. Ed Stetzer, who formerly led the research division at Lifeway, which was until now Moore's publisher, says the Southern Baptist Convention needs to have some hard conversation about why Moore, as well as African-American leaders, are leaving it. Rachel Gillidge, whose husband is soon to be the senior pastor in a Southern Baptist church in Georgia, told his Washington Post that as a child, she watched Moore's Bible study videos with her mother. Beth Moore leaving is sad to me, but I don't blame her, Gillidge said. For women, we probably lost one of our biggest voices. Who knows? Maybe Moore could be on the journey of just losing her faith. I can hope, can I? Maybe, okay. I dislike the term losing faith. I always said that, becoming an atheist wasn't losing my faith. It was more like my being able to find my car keys that I lost. It's like, getting my brain working properly. So maybe Beth Moore is making the long, hard march from conservative Christianity to atheism, because you know how it goes. This was my journey from more conservative Christian to more liberal Christian to maybe I'm a Christian, maybe I'm not a Christian, to actively searching to atheism. Maybe more is on that journey too. All right, chat. Let's see what's going on in chat. Yes, Samuel Gray. The Southern Baptist leaders. You see, the thing is, the reason why there's a Southern Baptist church to begin with is because they were pro-slavery in the Civil War. That is exactly correct. No, James Henry, you are correct with that, sir. Religion does not represent the best of humanity. That's how. All right, green. All right. So that's. I think I caught up with everything in the chat. I think I'm up to date with everything in the chat. Now then, this is halftime show. Is this the halftime show? This is the halftime show. I'm going to show the video that I made the other day. If you've already seen it, thank you for persevering for the next 45 seconds. If you haven't seen it, new video. It's supposed to be funny about Pat Robertson, about the story we covered yesterday.
All right, here's the caller, Lisa from Fallon, Nevada.
My question is regarding demon possession. Can babies be possessed? And if so, does the age of accountability come into play for salvation?
Well, the age of accountability has to do at the point you know what right from wrong, and that normally doesn't take place till you're old enough to understand something's wrong. So the age of accountability can be 5, it can be 6, it can be 4, it can be 3. But can a baby be demon possessed? I just believe if that child is born to a family of devil worshipers, there's a real possibility that the devil will think that he has a claim over that child.
Pat Robertson thinking a child. There was just so much in that story yesterday about Pat Robertson believing a child 3 that could go to hell. The idea that a child could be baby. I'm sorry, that the devil could be baby possessed. If you've ever seen a baby at 2 o'clock in the morning screaming, you're thinking to yourself, this devil is baby possessed. That was a Freudian slip right there. But yeah, just a horrible person saying horrible things. And yes, I am trying to formulate. I am in the midst of formulating a plan to calling the 700 Club and just asking about bronies, by the way. The girlfriend and I were discussing this yesterday in the midst of everything else I was doing, or that we were doing. That's exactly right, Imaginary God. Losing faith means being deprogrammed. You're quitting smoking, John Hudson. Congratulations. Congratulations on that. That's tough. That's tough. Mark Maron did it. What was it? He had a lot of the lozenges, the nicotine lozenges. And that was his path. I've talked about Chantix before. I had a girlfriend who was on Chantix. Messed her head up a bit, but she was able to quit smoking that way. But it's a struggle. It is a real tough addiction. Yeah. Good luck. My heart goes out to you. All right. So what have we talked about now so far? Guam. Marjorie Taylor Greene not really knowing whether or not thinking Guam's an independent country. Maybe she's thinking the Middle East is a country. I don't know. We talked about Ms. Moore leaving the Southern Baptist Convention because she realized they're a bunch of misogynists. And what's the next story? Oh, atheists and COVID vaccines. Hey, but of happy stories for us right now. This is a happy story from the Friendly Atheist. You might have seen this already. Atheists are more likely to get vaccinated than any religious group. According to a new survey from the Pew Research Center, atheists are more likely to get the COVID vaccine than any other religious demographic. White evangelicals, as usual, trail everyone. And you're asking me, do we have a graph? Is there a chart? There is a chart. Here we go. And here you can see down here, you get the atheists that will definitely and probably get a vaccine for COVID-19. 90%. Woohoo! Atheists. Agnostics, 80%. So, it just kind of shows you agnosticism. Maybe agnostics are just, like the skim milk of atheism. I don't know. They're 80% likely to get the COVID vaccine. And white evangelicals, 54%, approximately half of them do not plan to get the vaccine. That is crazy. And there's like a lot of evangelicals in this country. A lot of evangelicals in this country. And there's, 45% will definitely not get the vaccine for COVID-19. And only 10%. I would like to talk to the 10% of atheists who think that they shouldn't be getting the COVID vaccine. I would be curious about that. And, white Catholics, 78% are going to get the vaccine. Hispanic Catholics, 77%. But white evangelicals just doubling down on the dumb there, refusing to get the vaccine. Here's the write-up. 90% of atheists, not nuns, but atheists specifically, say they will definitely or probably get a vaccine, or that they've already vaccinated with one shot. On the other end of the spectrum, only 54% of white evangelicals say the same thing. 10% of atheists say they have no plans to get compared with 45% of white evangelicals. These answers seem to fall right in line with how the two groups feel about science, medicine, and their understanding of the virus. When you accept the science, you understand the protection that a vaccine provides. Getting a shot is a no-brainer. Even then, of course, there are a handful of atheists who accept conspiracy theories. Oh, yeah, there are. But are a hell of a lot more white evangelicals who fall for similar nonsense. You see science as an enemy of faith. Well, it really is an enemy of faith. Science is an enemy of faith. And don't trust the Democrats in power to handle this properly. Ask them to explain how the virus works. Many of the answers will range from sin. How does the virus work? To sin. That's how it works. To echoing some of Donald Trump's lies. How does the virus work? It's sin. It's from eating the apple. It was such a bad apple, we're still sick from it. Millennia later. I think there should be some kind of relationship, some kind, like if you have been supporting the vaccine and supporting people getting, putting on masks, maybe you should be getting the vaccine before everyone else who's been running their mouth against the vaccine. I don't know. I've been very pro-vaccine for quite a long time, putting on masks, double masking. Am I making a case that I should be getting a vaccine right now? Maybe I am. But, pretty soon we'll all be getting vaccines, right? At least by May 1st. But I'm saying, in my jarbled word salad kind of way, that if you've been running your mouth against vaccines, against public health policies, then you should not be getting one. And the thing is that Donald J. Trump secretly got a shot of the vaccine in January while he was still speaking against public health policies. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. As Pope of Atheists, I believe that was what you were trying to write down, and you got a spell check there, a word check. As Pope of Atheists, I excommunicate that 10%. Indeed. Yeah, you checked it. You found, yeah, that's right. Hey. Well, Robert X, my favorite X-man or X-person, thank you for the, because I always forget to ask people to do those things. Because I'm so focused. On the fun. That's what I am. What is to be lose? I have not heard, B. Good to see you, B. I have not heard about the vaccine pill. Yeah, I've actually talked with someone. Good person, smart person, but they're like, yeah, I don't like needles, so I'm going to put off getting the vaccine. It's like, all right. Okay, when people are close to me personally and they say things about they're not getting the vaccine, I just shrug my shoulders and I say, all right, I'm not going to be arguing with you about this. I'm just not. That's my personal policy. I will do all of my diatribes online and try to, sway public opinion this way. But in my personal life, people who are close to me who decide not to get vaccines, I'm like, all right, well, I am. Lead by example. But I haven't heard about the vaccine pill. Let's see. All right. Atheists believe in science. Well, we are far more likely to believe in science, my friend. That's what we are. And that's why 90% of us plan to get the COVID vaccine. Is this one, a lot of you are saying to yourself, this is just one big Darwin Award being handed out. And yeah, sure. It's a jovial way of looking at this horribly dark situation. But as we all know, if people don't get vaccinated, then it just gives the virus a chance to mutate into something worse. Well, it's not bad, Samuel Jenkins. I'm glad to have people showing up and appreciating the fun. All right, so atheists more likely to get the vaccine. Good news all around. Evangelicals, not so much. All right, let's go with what else the next story is. Next story is about Denmark, and they're pulling we talked about this yesterday on the 3 o'clock stream about, I don't think Blazing Wizard Pope, who is actually from Denmark, is here right now. Denmark pauses the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine to probe reports of blood clots. The high and low of this is that, well, we'll get into the story because, scientists, they'll explain it better than I will. Copenhagen, Denmark. Denmark has temporarily suspended use of the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine after reports of blood clots in some people, but its health authority said Thursday it has no evidence the vaccine was responsible. Other experts pointed out that there are millions of AstraZeneca vaccine shots administered elsewhere, including in Britain, where there have been no reported cases of the vaccine causing blood clots or related problems. We're in, once again, the fog of war. If we're going to use this military analogy, it's the fog of war where not all the data is in. People make decisions. Sometimes they're good decisions. Sometimes they're bad decisions. And this looks like it's kind of Denmark pulling off the putting on the shelf the AstraZeneca vaccine might be not the best decision. Well, we'll take a look more. Denmark's health authority said that its decision was based on precautionary principle, and that one person developed a blood clot after vaccination had died. One person out of a lot. At present, it cannot be concluded that there is a link between vaccine and blood clots, authorities said. Danish officials did not say whether the patient had any underlying conditions and did not provide other details. In a statement on Thursday, the European Medicines Agency said the vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risks, and the vaccine can continue to be administered. While closer evaluation of the blood clot case continues, there is currently no indication that vaccination has caused these conditions, the regulator said. It said that the number of people with blood clots in vaccinated people was no higher than those who hadn't been inoculated. Some doctors pointed out that people now being immunized against COVID-19 are more likely to already have health problems, and it would be difficult to determine whether the vaccine shot is responsible. And that's the problem with causality. It's difficult to determine cause and effects. People right now already have health conditions who are getting the vaccine. So, everyone, I think most of us have a basic grasp on statistics that under normal circumstances, with very large populations, you're going to have incidences anyway, like Bruce Lee, right? Dying supposedly from taking aspirin. He had an allergy of aspirin, never took aspirin, and he died. Well, at least that's the story. So there is, whenever you're dealing with large populations, there's going to be things like, someone dying from blood clots. Is that caused by the vaccine, or is it just normal for that population? From what the study shows, from what the numbers show, it just seems to be normal for a population, for someone within, let's say, 100,000 people or 200,000 people to have blood clots at any particular time. So it seems to be not caused by the vaccine. Denmark's suspension of the AstraZeneca vaccine will last for about 2 weeks, the agency said, adding it hinged on an evaluation by the EU medical regulator. Like others, I find the pausing and its consequences annoying. It's too early to conclude in this case that there is a risk and it must be investigated, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said. After the Danish announcement, Norway decided to follow suit and temporarily suspend the Anglo-Swedish's vaccine, which was developed in the University of Oxford, also saying that there are no proven links. In addition, Italy's pharmaceutical agency on Thursday ordered a precautionary ban on a particular batch of the AstraZeneca vaccine after what is said were serious adverse effects. Yeah. In an interview with the broadcaster La Sexta, I like that name, La Sexta, Spanish Health Minister Carolina Daria said there have been no similar incidences in Spain, and only one minor side effect had been reported from the AstraZeneca vaccine. So different countries are making different decisions about the AstraZeneca vaccine. Are these decisions based in science? Are they based in fear? Probably more in fear than on science. Well, it's a huge sample size, Brainbug. It's a huge sample size in Denmark. Blazing Wizard Pope that said that it was out of 100,000 people that got vaccinated, one person had a blood clot in Denmark. But here we go. Lease banner, with the millions of people who are getting the vaccine, they are going to get sick and die, but not because of the vaccine. And one person got sick. Yeah, one person. And this is interesting, Digital Bookworm. I had not thought about this. Blood clots could be caused by the shot being administered badly. That's interesting. Yeah, there's going people here who are getting the vaccine, getting vaccine shots, getting the vaccinations do have little papers. They have identification saying that I got my first shot this date, and it's all over here, at least on the gram, on Facebook. People who do get their shots are showing it off, which is good, by the way. Social norms theory. It's a way of influencing large groups of people. If people believe a behavior is normal, or in other words, if a person believes the majority of people do this particular act, then they're more likely to do the act. It's called social norms theory. So if people are showing their vaccination cards on social media, there'll be a perception that everyone's doing it. So even those reticent will get a vaccine. So the idea that you're showing your paperwork showing that you have been vaccinated on social media, this is really important, actually. So whenever I get my vaccination shot, I'll be posting it up on my Instagram profile, Twitter, Facebook, and everything. Vaccine denial has caused serious issues in my family. Yeah. Thankfully, no one within my pod, within the group of people that I regularly hang out with, are anti-vaxxers. I'm happy about that. So my kids are going to be getting vaccine. My ex-wife has already gotten her vaccine. So this is good. And this is true, B. I mean, blood clots could have been caused by an underlying medical condition that wasn't diagnosed yet, too. So there you go. So what have we done? Oh, yeah, Samuel. I will tell you on April 2nd how the vaccine has affected me. Second dose. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Good news all around. It's great news. People getting their first shot. It's fantastic news. People getting their second shot. So what have we got? Oh, we still have one more story. So you may not be, with all this stuff, with all the news going on, Donald Trump is still in the news. The ring of steel, using Churchill's metaphor for the enclosing ring on Nazi Germany in 1945. Prosecutors are still working hard on Donald J. Trump. Let's take a look at this story. And this should put a smile on your face too, by the way, about prosecutors working the Trump.
Citizen Trump has legal trouble now in New York. The Manhattan DA expanding his probe into Trump's business practices. They've got 8 years of tax returns after winning the Supreme Court clash. Now, subpoenaing documents from an investment company that loaned the Trump organization millions for a Chicago skyscraper. Meanwhile, Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, agreeing to a 7th interview today. Feds probing Donald Trump's Seven Springs estate. Now, Cohen had said, he had alleged, that Donald Trump manipulated property values. Investigators are issuing these new subpoenas looking for recordings of local government meetings. It's all part of New York Attorney General also has a probe related to this. Her investigations have interviewed Eric Trump, questioning him in his role as an officer with the Trump organization and as president of an LLC which owns that little-known property, Seven Springs. Joyce, what can we make over these developments which seem to be pulling on the thread? The Mueller probe was just mentioned, where Trump got away with much there, and yet some of the things that Mueller specifically said were out of his purview might have still been potential infractions.
You'll remember, Ari, that Trump always said that the red line prosecutors couldn't cross, that Mueller couldn't cross, was into his personal finances. And so it's interesting that that's where Cy Vance has ended up. I know it's very frustrating to people to watch who aren't involved in the criminal justice system, to watch how slowly it moves. But in some ways, this seems very quickly moving, a quickly paced investigation, given all of the appeals that Vance has had to deal with. This investigation is starting to look like an alligator that's swimming in a canal. You know, you don't know how big it is or how sharp its teeth are until it takes itself out of the canal to sun itself on the bank. But this investigation increasingly looks like it has a lot of different moving pieces, and they are very focused on very specific incidents, probably because they've got Michael Cohen narrating the story for them.
Well, and Joyce, you just made such an important point that I think is worth underscoring, which is if people watching are thinking, gosh, is this all happening post-election? Is there any suspicion to that? The reason it took this long was that Donald Trump taking it to the Supreme Court more than once. Most people, if you're on the other end of a New York DA probe, you don't get Supreme Court review of your criticism of whether they should look at your records. We have a system that does allow for that in the unique case of the president, but the timeline was dragged out, if anything, by Donald Trump, as you say, running from the proverbial alligator in the sun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank all of you out there.
Thank you.
I never heard the analogy, the metaphor of alligators in a canal. I've been in Florida a handful of times. There are signs. If you've never been in Florida, it's a weird place. My ex-brother-in-law used to live in Florida, and I was at his development where he was living in an apartment. And it was by the water, and there were just these little signs warning of the gators. And it's like, this is just odd for me. So vindication. Maybe his kids will get in trouble. Maybe his kids will go to jail. To live is to hope, everyone. Just seeing Donald J. Trump getting squeezed, being sued by Dominion voting systems, getting squeezed by the prosecutor. It brings joy to me. It is some entertainment. It is some Schadenfreude, some Schadenfreude soup I can take. All right, take care. Take care, B. Yeah, it's great having you here. It's great having everyone here. So we're going to put a bow on this. We're going to show one more funny video. We're going to and then say goodbye. Goodbye.
Zoe, what do you see? Yeah? Do you need some help? Because your brother's right here. He wants to help you. Will you let him? It's not very nice. All right.
That cat doesn't care about being nice. That cat just cares about looking at the birds, checking out the scene. Nice looking cat, though. You're right about that, Digital Bookworm. He will throw his kids under the bus if it's necessary. And of course, Eric will be first. Eric is obviously, I would be surprised if Eric is already not bundled up, ready to be tossed by his staffer under the bus right now. He's the first line of defense in case people do need to get tossed under the bus, in case of family members need to get tossed under the bus. I would say it had to be Eric Trump. Brain bug. Bumpy water puppies. That's an intriguing way of looking at gators, brain bug. I was looking at one of Brainbug's videos yesterday about some kind of water skimming vampire insect. It's a short video, maybe like 3 minutes long. Worth checking out on his channel. I caught it yesterday. Take care, B. And so that's it, everyone. We just covered a bunch of things in the last hour. Guam, Marjorie Taylor Greene, so much stupidity. Even for Marjorie Taylor Greene, it just shows you how little she knows about the United States of America. The splitter within the Southern Baptist Convention, leaving the Southern Baptist Convention because of misogyny. Atheists more likely to get the vaccine than any other group. Denmark holding up the AstraZeneca vaccine, and video of the Trump from MSNBC about the Ring of Steel enclosing upon the family of Trump, the clan Trump. Oh, that cat. That was a great cat in that last video there. Cat thinks it's people. Oh, it does. It does. All right, everyone. Thanks for showing up. 3 o'clock, I'm doing Jenga. I am recording an interview with Paul Kamish today of Best Advice Ever, which I'll probably be dropping on Saturday. So I won't be streaming on Saturday probably, but what I will do is drop the video with Paul Kamish, Best Advice Ever. Paul's a great guy. He has a lot of stories in him, and I'm hoping to get some. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. And like I said, I'm going to be dropping it tomorrow. And Sunday, Hemant Mehta, Friendly Atheist, is coming on the channel for the late show at 10:30 p.m. In case you have any questions you want to ask Hemant and you can't make the stream, you can always email me. And you can find the email on the YouTube page channel in the About section. All right, everyone, thanks. And then here's the link to Rainbug Swamp Vampires video. Like I said, it's only a few minutes long, but it's pretty cool. All right, take care, everyone. Be strong. If I don't see you over the weekend, hopefully I'll see you on Monday, 9 a.m. We're doing this whole crazy thing over again. Again, Andy? Pose? I'm going to look at my iPad. This is going to be my classic ending pose here. Thoughtful pose.